Well, you also have the Electric Safari Records. I don't know if I can call it a production company or that's right. But what made you want to start that?
So, funny story about Electric Safari Records. I'm going to go deep here. Before we even started producing any music at all, we had to get ourselves out there. So, we started recording our DJ mixes.
Hmm.
So, if you go to our SoundCloud, there's a mix called Electric Safari on there. So, it's a mix that we did at our home in our living room. And I have the creative brain for some reason, and I listened to it, and I just, my brain thought it needs to be called Electric Safari. It
Mm.
sounds dope. What a cool name is that, right? Because it's electronic music and it takes you places.
Hmm.
Several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I went to a paint and sip class where I painted a neon elephant.
Hmm.
I still had that painting. I took a photo of it and filtered it a little bit and put that as the image on the Electric Safari
Hmm.
mix. And that's an actual painting that I did.
Hmm.
And when we started producing music, we wanted everybody's dream is to release on a label, right? You know, because they're supposed to get you more exposure. And we thought, why not do it ourselves? Why not, since we're starting to produce music, and I think we started producing music maybe a year after that Electric Safari mix was released. And it's still
Hmm.
up there. Take a listen to it. It's great.
Hmm.
We love it. We still listen to it. We decided to call the record label Electric Safari Records.
Hmm.
And that's how it all started with that one mix a year ago, me painting that picture 10 years ago. And you never know when one little thing that you do leads to something so significant in the
Right.
future,
Hmm.
which is crazy. And it just made sense for us.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, self-producing these days. So if you go back and listen to a lot of the classics that you hear on the radio, it could be anything, right? 80s music, Motown,
Hmm.
like whatever, classic rock, whatever. Most of that music came through record labels that were like big and legitimate and probably five sound engineers, a few producers.
Right.
Like there was so much people that's why when you listen to the stuff on the radio, a lot of it sounds good because there was a higher threshold to get in.
Hmm.
Now you can go and make a track on a computer for $600. You don't need the $1 million studio.
Hmm.
And there are, you better believe it. There are people out there that can do that, that can make world class record sounding quality music on just an Ableton on a laptop,
Yeah.
So, you could talk about this for a while, but if you're an independent artist starting out, even if your music is really, 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 really good, really, really fantastic, that will not be enough to get signed by a label because
Hmm.
they want your audience.
Yeah.
They want to see that you have 100,000 people on Instagram and maybe, a million people watching you on YouTube. They want that.
Hmm.
And even if your music is really, really good, so it forces artists to basically try all this other stuff, social media, this, that, posting, reels, you know how it is, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get noticed. If we can make enough noise and get popular enough online, then eventually they're like, okay, you guys can come in, and then they let you in, and then you can become successful that way. But it's about doing the label to self-release because it's the only option we had, and
Hmm.
now we own a record label that, yeah, it's not super huge, it's not super successful, but where would it
But we
be?
love it.
Where would it be in
Yeah.
20 years? Where would it be in 20 years? Who knows? And maybe at some point we will, start having more artists on it, but still trying to build
Real quick,
build
super
it.
funny thing about Electric Safari Records. I was telling Spencer recently, I'm like, you know what? I love Electric Safari Records. They are the greatest record label because they let us do anything we want, anything at all. Sometimes we even forget to add them as collaborator or anything, and they don't
They
mind.
never
Yeah.
say
They
no.
never say
Yeah.
no. So I think that's funny. That's the benefit of owning your own record label.
You can make the art and do exactly what you want, and it's a beautiful thing.